On the day of any royal wedding, the focal point for people around the world is that royal wedding dress. We've seen some extravagant royal wedding dresses over the years, most notably Princess Diana's wedding dress in 1981 with the puffball sleeves. It had a voluminous skirt. You know, as she got out of the carriage, she had to kind of take all of the layers up as, you know, David Emanuel helped her out of the coach as they arrived at St Paul's. And then, of course, there was that 25-foot train. In the lead up to the wedding, David Emanuel apparently had conversations with Princess Diana, and they had a giggle about could they make this the longest royal wedding dress train, and they managed to achieve that. And then we have Princess Anne's rather dramatic wedding dress. It had these long, dramatic sleeves, it had quite a high neck, she had her hair styled into a bouffant, and it was quite of its time in the 1970s. At the time of Kate Middleton and Prince William's wedding in 2011, when Kate stepped out in that Sarah Burton Alexander McQueen dress with, you know, the lace sleeves and the padded hips, there were so many replicas of Kate's wedding dress in that time, and still to this day. Meghan Markle's wedding dress was typical of its fashion house. It was very French. It had the boat neck, off the shoulder style neckline, which is quite a classic French look. But again, we've seen that filtered down to the high street, not just with bridal trends, but also with, you know, day-to-day Bardo style off the shoulder necklines. One of the standout features of Meghan Markle's wedding dress was the veil. It had the flora of the 53 Commonwealth countries embroidered into the edgings of it. And then as an extra touch, Meghan actually had a piece of blue ribbon from a dress that she wore on her first date with Prince Harry sewn into the dress. The Queen's wedding dress really reflected its time and had a host of unique features. The dress wasn't over extravagant because at the time it wouldn't have been good for the royals to be over extravagant at a time when the country was still recovering. And the dress itself had a very modest train. It was only 13 feet long. It had a sort of sweetheart neckline, which was very typical of the 1940s. And Norman Hartnell, who designed the wedding dress, was famous for his signature embroidery, so it had lots of flowers across the dress. Norman Hartnell, who designed the Queen's wedding dress, then went on to design the Queen's sister Princess Margaret's dress in the 1960s. Fast forward to today, the Queen's couturier Stuart Parvin also designed the Queen's granddaughter Zara Tindall's wedding dress, so they've kept it in the family. There have been some really unique features in royal wedding dresses over the years. Sarah Ferguson's wedding dress was also typical of its time in the 1980s. It was satin, it was quite dramatic. It had the couple's initials intertwined in the embroidery. And on the wedding day itself, she wore a floral crown, and after the ceremony, she took off the floral crown to unveil the York tiara once they were husband and wife. Princess Eugenie's dress, which was designed by Peter Pilotto, was particularly special because she had a deep V-neck designed in the back of the dress to show off her scoliosis scar, an operation she had in her childhood, and she said it was important for her to show off her childhood scars on her wedding day. Royal wedding dresses are so important within the day itself because people all around the world want to know who the designer is, and in turn that's a boost for the British fashion industry, and it also sets a trend for a lot of bridal wear in the coming years and for catwalk trends as well.